You're listening to the REI Clarity Podcast, the show that guides you from confusion to clarity and sets you on the path to financial freedom faster. Learn how to grow your portfolio the right way with your host, REI advisor and co-founder of Shine Insurance, Jeremy Goodrich.
Welcome to REI Clarity. I am your host, Jeremy Goodrich, and on the episode today, we're going to go on a journey with an investor who went from 0 properties to lots of multi-family properties in less than 5 years. He traveled on this journey through flips, through wholesaling, through single-family portfolio, and then decided kind of on a dime that he was going to stop all of that and look directly into commercial real estate and figure out how to do it. Our guest today is Javier Hinojo. He is the co-founder of All States Capital Group. He founded that with another person, and he'll talk about that partnership in the second part of our conversation. I think it was really meaningful and thoughtful. He invests in a few markets: Dallas, Austin, El Paso, Tampa, Raleigh, Durham, to name a few. His strategy right now is mostly multifamily, although he'll talk about a deal that he did in mobile home parks recently. He's a member of the Rich Dad, Poor Dad Real Estate Hall of Fame. He's a proud father of 5 kids, and he's been married for 22 years. He was in business with his wife for the first part of this journey. He talks a little bit about that in the conversation as well. So if you are an investor who is just getting started and wants to know kind of how your journey could look, or someone who's in the single family space and wants to jump into commercial real estate, Javier has a ton of great information to share with you in this short 30-minute conversation. He does so eloquently, he does so thoughtfully, and he's really clear in his strategy and how he goes forward in things. The last thing we talk about in our conversation is how he's built his team so that now he's not involved as much in the day-to-day activities that happen. He is more driving the team forward, and I think it's a goal that a lot of us have. How do we put a bunch of time in at the beginning and build something that ultimately we do not have to put as much time into as it grows our wealth and our financial freedom? So that is the conversation we had. It was a wonderful conversation. I think you'll gain a lot from it. So without further delay, here is my conversation with Javier Hinojo. So let's start from the beginning. Things weren't always where they are at right now. Tell us how you started your real estate investing journey.
Sure. I had a buddy of mine invite me to the Rich Dad, Poor Dad seminar, and roughly about exactly 5 years ago, I want to say. And we went to the seminar, we paid our $35K, something like that, K-ish. And halfway through our first class, our online class, and I took all my classes online. They were like all video classes, nothing in person. And we got a property under contract, up the MLS, and we just kind of figured it out, right? I didn't have much money. He didn't have much money. Trying to figure out what a hard money loan is, how much money we need. Took longer than expected, cost more than expected. We ended up making like $17K on it. And then from there it was just believing, right? Finding somebody that was doing 5 deals, 10 deals, and believing that I could do 5, 10. Finding somebody doing 50 deals, and then, we were doing 50 flips a year. So that's just kind of big picture from starting to the way we scaled.
I love that. So let me ask a couple of questions in that original space. So you didn't have a lot of money and yet found a way to drop $35K on that Rich Dad, Poor Dad thing. What was your thinking behind that, and what was it like to drop that $35K?
Well, I didn't want my buddy to get ripped off in his own. So I said, hey, if you're going to get ripped off, I'm going to get ripped off. I mean, honestly, that was my thoughts, right? Like, let's get ripped off together. At least we don't lose too much. We'll lose it together. But I've always been a kind of a shoot first, aim later kind of guy. Always in my blood. I knew I was going to be entrepreneur. I knew real estate was the way to go for a long time. I just didn't know how to do it. So I just decided, hey, look, let's just take a leap of faith here and just follow what they tell me to do, right? I mean, I wasn't trying to reinvent the wheel. I made a lot of mistakes, but still, just follow a proven system. Find somebody that's doing it, and then do what they're doing and actually do it better.
I love that. I had a couple of thoughts. Like, one is you don't have to reinvent the wheel, especially in this work. There are so many people doing it in so many different strategies and so many different markets. in, different asset classes and everything else. You do not have to reinvent the wheel. You have to find the wheel and figure out how to make that wheel your own. Is that in your experience?
Yeah, because everybody has a personality, right? You got to fit your investing needs to your personality.
And so you dropped that $35K. And then you said you got a property under contract before you even got through the first video seminar. So certainly you shot first even before you'd started learning the things that were a part of that seminar. Was that just in your blood, or what made you shoot so quickly?
I mean, it just seemed like a good project, right? And we're getting a good deal at the purchase. So, I mean, that was basically it, right? The longer it takes you to do a deal, the closer you get to never doing one, right? So that was always, I always thought about that. So I wasn't going to procrastinate for 2 years. It's just waste of time, waste of life. Life's short, right? Make some decisions. You lose money, it sucks, right? Move on, right? It's not the end of the world. I mean, that's just as simple as I think, right? It's like, okay.
I love it. I love it. I'm reading the book right now, and one of her concepts, it's basically about how to not just start things, not just be motivated to do things, but how to keep things going. And she talks a lot about, one of the things you do is create a goal that's just a little bit bigger than the one before, and then you just go do it. And then you create a goal that's just a little bigger than that one, and then you just go do it. It's kind of a little bit like your evolution has been. So in those first deals, you were doing mostly flips and then some wholesaling. I want to break those two out quickly. When you look back at that, what were some of the pros of flipping and what were some of the cons?
So I tell everybody that I'm 24 years old, but I look like I'm 41 because I flipped houses. So that's one of the cons right there. It's just like herding cattle, just trying to get the properties in, the contractors. You can have some systems and processes, right, and to scale your business, but still, right. I know very few people that can do it without being part of the business. Very few. I know a lot of successful investors, right? I know people that do 100, 200 flips a year, and there's only a few that can build a business where they're out of their business, right? So that's unless you're one of those few folks that can do it, it's just a job, right? And I didn't want a job. It's a high-paying job. I mean, it's not bad, but definitely didn't want to do flips. So you make good money, right? You flip a house, you're making money, right? And then you get taxed in the back end. Nobody ever talks about that. So that part sucks too. Wholesaling is just risk-free, right? All you're doing is just selling paper. So I really like that. Made a whole bunch of money doing that, and I would just keep the best properties for me.
So I heard a couple of things here. So when we're talking about pros and cons, and we're sticking right now with what you kind of used to do, you've evolved from that, and we'll talk about that in a second. But in the flipping, one of the pros is money. You make good money from it. One of the cons is you have to be there. And in this, I think we'll get to where you're going with commercial real estate and multifamily. But if you want to grow and scale and make a large real estate business that you are not the one doing the daily work in, flipping doesn't have that availability really, unless you really have a crazy system for it. Is that right?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you can build to it. I mean, like I said, I know some few people, but most people can't, and most people won't, right? Because they can't stick their hand out of there. They got to be watching it, right? It's all about the team. If you got the right team in place, you can do it.
Okay, cool. So pro to flipping, good money. Con to flipping, kind of have to be there for the most part.
There's no long-term wealth. That's the biggest one. No long-term wealth there.
Yeah, and no long-term wealth. Okay, cool. And wholesaling, kind of the same. I mean, wholesaling, the risk is incredibly low. The money is good. What's the con of wholesaling?
Basically, it's just you don't have a wholesaling business or real estate business. You just have a sales and marketing company. That's what you're running, right? So if you love sales and marketing, then you're gonna love wholesaling. But you're always grinding, right? If you don't kill, you don't eat. So
yeah, I think that makes sense. There's no stability, not a runway, and you're kind of a sales and marketing person, less of a real estate person.
Yes, okay. and it's still no long-term wealth.
Yeah. So you were doing that for a couple of years. So fast forwarding
about 4 years, roughly. Yeah.
Yeah, and in that time, I mean, you were flipping lots of properties in a year. Give us a sense of at the height of that particular part of your journey. Yeah, we were
flipping like 50 properties a year, and we were doing 80 plus wholesales a year.
What are some of the things you learned in that part of your journey about what it takes to do this work on a more general level?
I try to forget. Look, to be honest with you, I was getting ready to scale to like 100, 200 flips a year. And I mean, I was getting gonna just go all out. And I was at a mastermind with my wife, and I told my wife, honey, I feel like I couldn't put it into words. And then I heard somebody say this a few months ago, and it's scaling to unhappiness. So I felt like I was going to be scaling to unhappiness. I said, I can't do this, right? Money's great. All this stuff is awesome, whatever. But I just didn't see that that's where I wanted to go, right? And I didn't really enjoy it. I wasn't actually my wife's a better flipper than I was. She's better with a contractor. She's better at detail. She's better at project management. She's way better than me. But it was just a job that I fell into, right? That kind of got me started somewhere else. But I just knew how to be in real estate. I just didn't know exactly what it was. I'm like, man, flipping is not going to be it. Wholesaling is not going to be it. I mean, that's just like, for me, that was like the beginning level.
Right. So you're at a point and you're in a business with your wife, which adds the complexity of two people navigating something together, especially two people who are married as well. And you're about to scale and you're at a mastermind talking about how you're going to scale. And you look at her and kind of pause this and say, look, I don't want to scale this. It's going to scale me to unhappiness. What did she say?
All she asked, she looked at me and she said, how much time do you need? That's all she asked. She's like, how much time? Is it a year? Is it 2 years? What do you need? And I didn't know. I'm like, 2 years. So.
Oh, I love that like, so much.
Yeah. And she's response. Like, yeah. And she's like, okay, all right, honey. She's like, I'll support you.
So what happened next?
Yeah, I mean, right away that same week, we just pretty much quit, pretty much let the whole staff go, started selling all our single family portfolio and just started telling everybody, hey, I'm buying an apartment building. I'm buying apartment buildings. That was like in September, October of last year, 2019. And by December, we closed our first apartment building, 63 units in South Carolina.
Wow. Okay. So you two have that conversation. She says, how much time do you need? You say, I don't know, but I need to do this. This has to change. And you
actually told her 2 years. I told her 2 years.
You told her 2 years? How long did you really need? Like, it sounds like maybe 2 months.
Honestly, you know what? I didn't even know any better, right? I didn't know any better. So I'm glad I said 2 years.
Okay, cool.
Once I started running the numbers, I'm like, oh my gosh, yeah, I definitely need. And yeah, definitely 2 years. 2 years is actually plenty of time. I mean, I've done okay in my first year.
Yeah, well, I think so too. And so you turn around and you have to tell what a transition. I'm just imagining the act of doing that you turn around, you have to tell your staff, hey, this isn't what we're doing anymore. We got to let you go. And you immediately start liquidating so that you could have cash to turn into the other space. Was that the reason for liquidation? Basically, just I didn't want to spend 1 second, right, on a single family. I got, and not 1 second. I mean, not even 1 second. Actually, I bought a house for my wife a couple of weeks ago so she can flip, and I spent like 3 hours, right? I'm like, I don't want to spend 3 minutes. I said, I don't want to spend 3 minutes. So we ended up selling it, right? We said, just sell it. We just sold it. Actually, we made pretty good money just by selling it. But yeah, I just didn't want to spend any time, energy, and effort just because I know long-term, that's not what I want to get to, right? I'd rather not make $1 million this year or 2 million or million, 2 million, whatever, flipping houses. But I want to make 5 million next year and then 10 million the following year and then 20 million the following year, 50 million the following year, right? So that's why I decided not to make the short-term million. I'm hearing from you something that's interesting, and I'm wondering if you can expound on it. You seem like a very quick decision maker, and I'm hearing that over and over again. And at the same time, you have the capacity to not make short-term decisions, but make decisions that will positively affect you both with time and money in the long term. Do you think that's true about yourself? And how do you balance both taking those quick decisions and being able to look long-term instead of short-term?
Look, listen, I'm super impatient. My attention span is so short. I make quick decisions because I'm impatient. But at the same time, I know what delayed gratification is, right? Give you an example. When I started the real estate company 5 years ago, I sold my house. I sold my cars. I downgraded. I put my whole family in a townhome, like 1,400 square feet. I sold my house like 3,800 square feet. I mean, I just completely went like bare bones and I said, guys, we have this particular budget. We're going to make a new business work. And I just went all out, right? I believe going all out. That's just me. And right, 4 years later, I'm building my wife her dream house, right? She'll have whatever she wants. If I wouldn't have done that, I probably couldn't be buying her dream house. And by the way, all the guys out there, when you come to a budget and when you're going to buy your significant other a house, stay firm. Okay, be firm. So I was really firm, and I only tripled my budget. It tripled. I'm being serious. My budget tripled. Yes.
Oh my gosh! And you had the capacity to do that. I think that's fascinating. I mean, I hear the impatience and the quick decision making, but that delayed gratification I think has real value. And I think it's about vision too. Like, you may or may not see it this way, but there has to be a deeper vision inside of who you are and what you do. Sometimes we call that the why. Like, can you talk a little bit about it? Is there sort of that thing out there that is driving you, that is your compass, that is your North Star?
That's awesome. There's 3 things that came to my mind, and I'm probably going to forget 2 of them. So we talk about the why. What was the other one you said? That the why,
I think the why is the big question, right? Like, I don't remember what I said at the beginning of that question either. Yeah. So I think sticking with the why is where that question's going to go.
All right, perfect. So listen, the why, right? I'm the laziest person in the world, right? So that's why I work super hard. So I don't have to do anything later. Okay, that's just true, honest, right? I don't want to do anything, right? So I just have to work extra hard right now so I can make that happen in the future, because I enjoy my time. I don't like to waste time. Number 2, my why, you talk about my why. It's women, cars, money, and houses, right? That's what it comes down to, right? I got 2 women in my life, my daughter and my wife. We need to have a nice place to live. I need to have a safe vehicle for them to drive, and we have to have money in the banks for, security, right? So yeah, women, cars, homes, and houses, right? That's my why. But at the same time, a lot of the times especially, I'll just say it for me, right? For me, you might have an ego, you might have, you have something you want to accomplish, right? And sometimes your priorities are a little bit strange. You say your wives, your family, but deep inside, it's just you, right? You want to accomplish something because that's just the way you're put together, right? And then sometimes you do that why as a family, and you end up hurting that why to accomplish, your goals. So it's a fine balance, right? It's a super fine balance. That's the biggest sacrifice I had to make, right? Was losing time with my family. Like my high school, my boy was in high school when I got started the first 3-4 years. And I went to a school one time, right? And that was because he got in trouble. I pretty much ignored my kids and my wife for a couple of years. So
yeah. How would you do that differently if you could do it now?
I don't know if I would do it differently. Hopefully I just caused them some short-term pain, not any long-term pain.
Yeah.
That's the way I am. And we talk about it all the time. And I don't know if I would have done it different. Maybe I would have had a different outcome. You just got to apologize, right? You got to make sure everybody's on the right page. And you got to know that, part of this that you do is for them. But you got to be honest with yourself. It's not all for them. It's for you as well.
This episode of REI Clarity is brought to you by Shine Insurance. Did you know that 80% of real estate investors have insurance policies that will fail them? I know this because I see these policies daily in our free insurance review. That means that 4 out of 5 investors are dangling a carrot in front of disaster right now. So the obvious question is, are you one of them? Well, we've got a simple 3-minute quiz that will help you answer that question. Simply go to shineinsurance.com/REI to take the quiz and find out. Wanted to tell the quick story of a couple of our clients who had people who were working for them get physically injured while on the job for that company. And it brought to my mind the idea that it's really important to consider, if you have employees, do you have workers' compensation coverage? This is coverage for if people are injured as a part of working for your business. And if you don't have work comp, there is no coverage for those injuries. So a lot of real estate investors don't think about it as they pick up employees or even independent contractors, whether or not the injuries that they could incur as a part of working for you are covered. So talk with your insurance agent and make sure that you have workers' comp coverage if you need it. All right, if you are an investor and you're not sure if your policy is any good, we've got a free 3-minute quiz to help you find out. Go to shineinsurance.com/REI. That's shineinsurance.com/REI. Take the quiz and find out if your insurance policies are right for you. I think another thing you have to be honest with yourself with is that time consumption is a part of setting up a system where time is not consumed. If your goal is to get to a place where you want time as an availability, you want money and you want time, that place might not be right now. It may not be 2 years from now. You may have to give up a lot of your time, like you just described, to get to that place where you may have more time available.
Yeah.
To you.
Listen, all these single people out there, man, I would sleep in my car. If I was single, I would sleep in my car. I would shower at the gym. I mean, I would be bare bones until I made it work. That's just me. Right?
Well, and that's the perfect time too.
Yeah. If you got family, you got kids. Hey, you got responsibilities, right? My kids want to eat every day, and like 3 times, sometimes 4. I'm like, Jesus.
Some people say that they think younger folks, people in their 20s, should invest as limited partners as a way to get started. I feel like that concept is a little bit opposite of what you just said. So I wonder, what would you say to someone in their 20s as a way to get started?
Look, everybody has a different personality and risk tolerance, right? So it's really what fits your personality and your risk tolerance. If you have a great paying job, you're going to have a great career, you're going to make a few $100K a year, maybe a few $1 million a year. Well, why do you want to switch if you're happy with what you're doing, right? Maybe you want to be a passive investor.
Yeah.
Right. So if you want to have $100 million in assets, right, and you're making $150K a year in your job, and that's as far as you're going to get, well, it's not going to work. You got to do something different.
Yeah. So for someone who's in their 20s and wants to make money off of real estate, wants real estate to be their primary journey that they go on, what would you suggest they do?
Oh, see, I can't suggest. I can tell you what I would do. Right. If I was single in my 20s, I live in my car, I shower at the gym, I eat at the dollar menu, I would just grind it out for like 2 years. And all you need is a couple of deals, even just one project, it'll change your life. That's just me. Right. That's just me.
Yeah.
But I'm a risk taker. Right. Some people like the steady, they like the steady and the for sure and things like that. I would just go all out.
Yeah, I think I'm with you too. If I was in my 20s again, like just really diving in that way and just making it work and putting that sweat equity and time in, because that's a period in your life where you have a lot more of it and it's less of a risk. So I like that. Okay, so let's get into where your business is now. Obviously made that transition. You liquidated all the single family homes you had and all that stuff. And what was your strategy going into the commercial real estate side?
Hey, my number one strategy was just to believe, right? Just to believe that I could do it, so you don't get out of your own way. That's mostly everybody's problem. You think too much, you're your biggest problem. And then number 2 was just network, right? Network with people that I want to be like and I want to get to and offer, hey, what can I do to help? Right? Don't just text somebody and be like, hey, can I pick your brain? Well, you know what? This person, is super busy, right? I couldn't do that, right? This guy's buying $100 million worth of property. Why am I going to pick his brain for 15 minutes, 30 minutes? That guy's, super busy. How about I offer something? Hey, what do you need? What can I do? What kind of grunt work can I do for you? Right? There's just so many ways to get started. And that was kind of the beginning for me, just believe. And number 2 was just network with other people that were doing this already. That's how I got started.
And then I would add, you've said already, like pull the trigger. Don't spend a lot of time worrying about it. Like make those moves.
Yeah, and if you're going to partner with somebody, don't partner with somebody just like you, right? Partner with somebody that's going to be totally different.
How did you do that? Like, can you think of a partner that like your partner right now, I know is very, like you two, can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I'll tell you how we met. I was searching online, the website, what's it called? LonelyRealEstateInvestor.com. Right, and then Moose face popped up, and I'm like, I don't know, Chinese, Asian. I mean, it's not my style. I don't know. Maybe is it? Never. And I swipe right. He swiped right. I don't know how you swipe. Right. We both swipe, and then we connected. Right. And when we hit it off right away, just because we're both big thinkers, big vision. Like we push each other, but we're different. Right. So we have different roles. And the biggest thing is like a marriage. You got to set the expectations up front. As soon as, and the same vision, as soon as somebody feels like they're doing more work than the other and they're not getting their fair share or the vision separates, that's when your marriage separates and that's when your partnership separates. So we have a meeting, once a year. Well, actually like quarterly. We just had our like a yearly meeting. We've been partners for about a year now. Here last week in Jamaica, I took the family and we just talked about, hey, where do you see the company going? Where do I see the company going? Hey, do you still love me? Do I still love you? Right? No hard feelings. But we give ourselves every quarter, right, to be like, hey, guy, do we still love me, right? Don't kill me. Just tell me you don't love me and leave me, right? They want to come out in one of those man-hating channels. The Lifetime movie channel, right?
Right.
But, one of the biggest things we talk about is no idea is bigger than the partnership. So if I bring an idea, his only job is to poke at it, like to hurt my feelings, hurt my ego. That's his job to do. If he's like, yeah, let's do it. He's not doing his job. If he brings an idea, my job is to hurt his ego, pick his ego, and tell him he's dumb, basically. Like, that's the stupidest idea I ever heard in my life, right? And he's got to pitch it to me. He's got to convince me, but my job is to turn it down. And then if I can't turn it down, then we talk about it. Hey, let's make it happen. And if we can't come to an agreement, we push it off, for the next meeting, right? That's just the way we do it. So we don't agree on something. We just keep pushing it until you can convince me.
I love it. I think you really pointed out some amazing things about partnerships, and let me see if I can reiterate a couple of them. You said to find a partner who is not like you. And so in your partnership, if I understand correctly, Moo is kind of the money side. He understands investors a little bit more. And then you're more the deal side, deal flow, and you understand deals a little bit more. Would you say that's the surface?
I would say he kind of likes to be in the background, right? If there had to be like a face of the company, it would be me. And like do podcasts, be on Facebook, things like that, bring deal flow, raise capital for our deals. I'll do all that. And then on his side, he's in charge of the financing side, like, hey, picking the best loans, helping underwrite the deal, helping raise money. He can raise a lot of money, structuring the projects. He's a problem solver, right? I never met anybody like him. He can pretty much solve any problem and come up with a solution. When we get together on a problem, it's pretty fun. We keep our CPA and our attorneys up at night. They're like, hey, guys, how do you come up with this stuff? I'm like,
I love it. So you found balance at the beginning, but then you jumped into, I think, a really important point. You both have the same big vision. Like, while you balance each other in sort of the things that you bring to the table, you are on the same page in vision. And that's like a marriage, right? You may marry someone who balances you in a lot of ways in sort of how life works, but ultimately you have to have a lot of the same big vision pieces or it doesn't work. So I loved hearing that. And then the expectations of each other, checking in on a quarterly basis and saying, hey, do you still love me? And making sure. And that question is really, are we still on the same page? Are there things that I'm doing that's starting to create issues in your mind about me? Let's talk that through. Let's make sure we can either work through it or say that we can't work through it and figure that piece out. And then finally, like challenging each other's ideas. So to have someone to take your harebrained idea and throw it out to, and have someone say, that's the stupidest idea I've ever heard, and then push back on you and make sure that maybe they actually realize it's the best idea they've ever heard. Maybe you actually realize it's the stupidest idea you've ever heard, or maybe between the challenge that comes back and forth, a sort of new melded idea comes together in the end. Is that about right?
Yeah, that's basically it. Yep.
Okay, cool. So find a good partner. And I think that's really good. So you all came together, you started this multifamily, right? Are you invested in any other asset class besides multifamily?
Yeah, mobile home park, apartments, right? We got a couple other assets where we're hitting, but just taking it one step at a time.
Okay, cool. So what other pieces of advice would you have in general for someone as they're moving into the multifamily space? You said, believe in yourself, definitely network, make decisions and make them happen, and then find a partner. And we just talked through the find a partner. That's
as simple as that sounds. That's it. People start worrying about, where am I going to find my deal flow? Where am I going to find my money? Where am I going to get a loan? All that stuff is just the details.
I love it.
If you're not even there mentally, you don't even worry about figuring out how you're going to raise money, because you're not.
Yeah, absolutely.
You got to get yourself in the mindset. If you're thinking right now, like, hey, I got to raise $5 million. Oh my gosh, I'll never do that. You got to change that thought process.
Yeah, absolutely. Believe in yourself, believe in the big picture, believe in where you're headed, and believe you'll get there. I love that. Let's talk about one deal that you're doing. Is there any specific deal that you want to zoom in on and just kind of talk through a little bit?
We can talk about maybe the last one we closed, the mobile home park.
Okay.
So kind of what we learned, what we would do again, what we wouldn't do again. Yeah, so I never bought a mobile home park, and we've been trying to buy one. Well, I've been trying to buy one for like 2 years, but I wanted to buy something that was such a good deal that even if I screwed it up, we still made money. And we made a lot of money, right? So we ended up finding one that was a great deal, like 116 units for like $900K, right? In South, right outside South Bend, Indiana. Killer deal. It's worth like $4 million once we're done with it in a year and a half or 2 years. once we're done, we'll be all in for like, we told all the investors like 2 million, and we'll probably be all in for like 1.4 ish. Right. So even at 2 million, it was a great return. 1.4 is even a way better return. And one of the couple of things we would have done different on that, I break down the numbers, is we would have bought something a little bit bigger. We don't want to buy anything that small anymore. It's harder to get a loan because it's just a small part. That's about the only thing we would have done different on the front end. I mean, just the numbers made total sense. The owner was like 50-60% occupied. He had about 17 homes he owned. Everything else the tenants owned. So it's got city water, city sewer, and right in the main intersection, the main drive of the city. So the rents are like $370 just for the lot rents are $370. And once you run all the numbers, it's about $4 million. That's the stabilized value once you get it up to like 95%.
Wow. So you bought 116 units. Your one thing you would do differently is maybe try and find a little bit bigger one, but the deal was so good that made sense. About 50% occupancy as far as lots occupied. What are you going to do? What are some of your value add moves? You said you're going to put in about $1.4 to $2 million.
No, that includes the purchase price.
Oh, okay. So it's going to be, so what are some of the things you're going to do to value add there?
Yeah, there's some trailers that are owned there by the part, remodel those and then owner finance them out. If you owner finance them out, you're making 30-40% like return on your money. It's insane. But we don't even count that in our pro forma. If we decide to do that, a couple of different options you can do. You can sell them off. You can remodel them and owner finance them on your own. You can buy new ones, bring them in. You can have people come in and bring their own trailers. So all that stuff, I'm not doing any of that. We just have a company that's going to do it for us.
I love it. That's a pretty cool value add. So what are anything else that, like when it comes to mobile home park investing or maybe general advice in general, off of this particular buy, anything else that comes to mind that would help listeners kind of understand how to do this? Yeah,
just get a really good deal. Get a really good deal. And then you can't, even if you screw it up, you still make mone, right?
How'd you find this deal?
If you get an okay deal and you lose money, I mean, if you get a tight deal just because you want to make it work, and it's never going to go, it's always going to take longer than it costs more, always. Okay, it's always going to happen. So how do we find this deal? I believe it was through a property management company. We were calling about something else, and they said, hey, we might know somebody who's selling a trailer mobile home park.
Man, I love that.
And that's how we got to it.
Okay, cool. I want to hit on one last topic before we go. And that is, you've done a really good job of putting people in places so that you don't have to do everything. You talked at the beginning of this conversation about the reason you left single family and residential was because you didn't want to have to do everything. And you have addressed that, and we haven't talked really about that in this conversation. Can you talk a little bit about how you've built your team?
Well, just in general, right? Either single family or multifamily, whatever I decided to do, I didn't want to do everything on my own. So we're still building out the systems and processes, right? We got like our COO, we have a director of acquisition, we got a bookkeeper and a marketing person, some sales folks, right? So everybody's kind of falling in their spots to where we got our systems guy, all he does is like tech and systems. So everybody's falling in their spots to where I don't have to deal with it day to day. I just kind of oversee everything. Our COO right now is doing a lot of the asset management, so he's doing a couple of different roles. But as we build out the business, the company, right, everybody's going to have their role. Outsource where we got to outsource and just keep in-house, super tight. Warren Buffett's office is super tight. I think he has like less than 30 employees, and he has billions of dollars in management and buildings and things like that. So you got to keep it tight. Don't want to overextend it. In case you need to shift, you can shift right away.
I love that. And as you built this up, did you build like systems underneath and then hire people, or then figure out what you were doing?
Yeah, got to do it that way. I mean, I kind of already knew what I was doing before in the single family, right? But it's always changing. You always got to be flexible because you don't even know. I got to create systems. Well, for what? If you haven't even done it, right? So you just got to be flexible, right? You got to be able to shift. And I'm not the best person for systems either. So that's why I have to hire people to just give the idea of, hey, can you put all this together? And this is what I want it to look like. And then I come back later and then they show it to me and I'm like, no, it's not what I want. Or that is what I want. Or give me some ideas. You got to hire. You can't feel bad. You can't feel intimidated if you hire somebody who's smarter than you.
Yeah. Well, I think that's absolutely it. A good coach of any team doesn't try to be the quarterback, doesn't try to be the, offensive line, doesn't try to be any of that stuff. Just tries to make those people that are inherently better at those things. Sports analogies are nice because coaches are never as good at the thing that they're trying to get everybody to do as the players themselves. But you don't have to be the best at anything. You just have to be good at making sure that everything's moving forward together and the smartest people are on your team and not on somebody else's.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, some quick fire questions to go out here, Javier. Just some quick things that our listeners can get from you. First is like a source of learning information. That could be a book or a podcast or just something out there that you think if they're not doing right now, they would really enjoy and love.
All right, for sure. All right, okay. So as far as books, I've only read one book my whole life, and it was like a 16-minute read. So I can't really tell anybody what books to read because I don't read. So I would probably say if I could teach something to somebody, I would just say be persistent. Right.
I like that.
You know, that just be persistent. Whatever you're doing, just be persistent. Don't give up. Don't quit. You know, as far as books and systems and all that, I mean, you know, at the end of the day, you know, you can have a beautiful Ferrari sitting there just super shiny, but with no persistence, right? No engine, you're never going to go nowhere. So start with the persistence.
All right. Next question is, what is a market that is out there that maybe you think is a great market and maybe isn't as well known of an awesome market to look in?
I wouldn't know. I would probably say every market right now is pretty hot. So I would probably say maybe I'm in North Carolina. I would say like Greensboro, Winston-Salem. But that was maybe like a year or two ago. Now it's just insane right now. The house is like almost doubled in price the last couple of years.
Yeah. Last quick fire question. Anybody that you can think of that should come on this show and speak like you did about real estate investing and how to succeed in doing so?
Man, I got like a huge list. Let me think. I would actually reach out, like what you want to do, multifamily, you want to do residential.
I think we talk with mostly multifamily commercial investors, people in the, you know, sometimes it's real estate. My buddy Josh Z, I'll connect you. He's out of Utah. And finally, Javier, if someone wants to connect with you, maybe it's to invest in one of your deals, maybe it's to provide you some value while picking your brain at the same time, how could they do so? Yeah, so on Facebook, right? I'm sure, I don't know if you're going to post the links below, but Facebook, for sure, my name, Javier Antonio Hinojo Jr. I think I'm the only one there besides my dad with that name. I got Instagram, I got a YouTube channel, Facebook group page. I'll throw that out there. It's $1 billion multifamily commercial real estate. It's our Facebook page. And we already, we share a lot of content, deals, calculators. We're having our weekly meeting live on the Facebook group. I set certain like goals for the group. And once we hit it, we're going to do like a whole company meeting live. So you can kind of see how the sausage is made. Everybody wearing the PJs, things like that, whatever, right? The way we are every day. Just reach out, if you guys need anything, got any some projects, we'll be more than happy to partner with anybody out there. It's got a good project for us. Cool. And I'm in that group. You've been doing a great job. That group has been growing very, very quickly because you're providing great content and being awesome. So thank you for all the content that you share. Thank you for all the work that you're doing. And thank you for coming on REI Clarity and taking a little bit of your time to share more of that. Awesome. Thank you so much. A pleasure. Special thanks to Javier for taking the time to share his insights with us. I'm feeling inspired, and I hope you are as well. He's such a neat individual, very decision-oriented, quick trigger decision-making, and at the same time, it's all working towards a more hierarchical goal that I think a lot of us miss. We make those decisions, but we're not driving towards a clear outcome where we're headed. And man, that decision to switch from single family to commercial real estate and just deciding to do that on a dime, so thoughtful, so interesting. Maybe not everybody's journey, and that's okay, but I think it was neat to see how his journey went. So who do you know who needs to listen to this episode? Maybe they're spending 12, 15 hours a day on their real estate investing journey and just struggling to know what the next step is. Grab your phone, send them to this episode. Let's help everyone level up. If you haven't done so already, if you've listened to one episode of the show, 2 episodes of the show, 10 episodes of the show, and you've gotten some value out of it, I would love for you to go right now and leave a 5-star rating and a review on whatever is the app that you listen to podcasts. Please tell us what you liked and what you would like to learn next. And finally, Join us in the REI Clarity Facebook group. It is the place to get clarity, make connections, and implement the systems and strategies we talk about here. Just search REI Clarity on Facebook and look for the gold logo. All right, until the next time, here's to clarity that leads to financial freedom faster.